They mocked the alien girl for her function history. Then a human gave her his last name. The sand-blasted wreck of the Argus groaned a final death rattle, a symphony of tortured metal as the magnetic storms tore at its spine. Jake coughed, spitting black dust and blood. His ribs felt like shattered glass, every breath a stab. Outside, the perpetual lightning flashed, illuminating razor-sharp rock formations, twisted and jagged like the teeth of a forgotten god. He dragged himself from the mangled cockpit, his smart-ass scavenger instincts screaming, "Bad idea." But the comms were dead, and the Argus was becoming fine particles. He needed shelter. Now. The air crackled with a malevolent energy, tasting of ozone and something else, something alive. He stumbled, one hand pressed to his gut, the other gripping a plasma pistol that felt like a child's toy against the vastness of this cursed magnetic desert. Survival was a bitch, and she had sharp teeth. He heard it then, a low growl, not from the storm, but from something large, something with purpose. Footsteps, heavy, deliberate, crunching through the metallic dust. His heart hammered, a frantic drum against his ribs. He barely had the strength to raise the pistol, his arm trembling. A shadow detached itself from the storm's chaotic light, impossibly tall, sleek, and utterly alien. It moved with a predator's grace. A hunter. Dark, obsidian-like skin shimmered with subtle, shifting patterns, catching the lightning like a deep space nebula. Her eyes, two slits of incandescent violet, locked onto him. Curves, dangerously sculpted, were wrapped in practical, yet utterly intimidating, armored plating. She was beautiful in a way that screamed Death World Apex Predator. "You," a voice rumbled, low and guttural, yet surprisingly melodic. It was a statement, not a question. "You are the scent mark, the trespasser." Her hand, large and multi-jointed, reached out, surprisingly fast, and closed around his neck. Not a squeeze, not yet, but a claim. Her touch was cold, firm. He tried to speak, but only a ragged gasp escaped. Her grip tightened, just enough to convey the raw power behind it. "Your vessel bleeds energy into my territory. You are damaged, weak." She tilted her head, those violet eyes scrutinizing him, assessing. A salvage, perhaps. Her scent hit him then, something primal and intoxicating, like burnt sugar and storm electricity. It was unnerving, making his exhausted body twitch with a strange, foreign alertness. He swallowed hard, his throat dry. "Salvage? Lady, I'm a human, not a goddamn spare part." A hint of a smirk or perhaps just a twitch of alien musculature played on her lips. "Your kind is fragile, disposable. Yet, your scent is new, potent." Her thumb brushed his pulse point, sending a jolt through him. This wasn't standard capture protocol. This was personal. Her armor glinted and he noticed a deep, angry scar, a ragged line across her left shoulder, almost certainly a bond mark, but one that had been violently broken or rejected. An exiled enforcer, he realized. And he was her new problem, or maybe her new solution. He was caught between a dying starship, a killer storm, and an alien woman who looked at him like he was a prize, or a test. He probably wouldn't survive the night. He definitely wouldn't survive if he didn't try something. All right, hands off the merchandise, sweet cheeks. Just a little crash. Nothing a good mechanic and a case of cheap synthale can't fix. Her eyes narrowed further. Sweet cheeks? The word sounded oddly distorted on her tongue, almost like a ritualistic greeting. He braced himself. This was going to be a long, painful night. He could feel it in his bones. Cathar dragged him. Not by the collar, not even by the hand, but with a firm grip on the back of his belt, like a disobedient pet. Jake stumbled, his injured leg protesting, but she didn't slow. Her gait was a tireless, loping stride across the jagged, magnetically charged dunes. "Hey, easy there, you oversized gecko. I'm still a little broken, remember?" He rasped, trying to pull free. Her answer was a low, resonant growl. "You will keep pace, or you will be left for the scav hounds." He pictured something with too many teeth and an appetite for fresh meat. "Right, scav hounds. Is that like your local welcoming committee? Do they also do the little hula dance?" She ignored his sarcasm, her gaze fixed on the horizon, where the storm-choked sky bled into a bruised purple. She led him into a grotto. a narrow crevice carved into the side of a massive dark rock formation. Inside, the magnetic interference was muted, but the air was still thick with the metallic tang of lightning. It was barely wide enough for them both, forcing them into uncomfortable proximity. Her scent, that intoxicating mix of burnt sugar and static, was overwhelming in the enclosed space. "Here," she commanded, gesturing with a tilt of her head. "Shelter. The storm builds." He sank to the dusty ground, wincing as his ribs flared. "Charming. So what, we just spoon here until the weather clears? You usually share your boudoir with crash victims, or am I special?" Her violet eyes flicked to him, sharp. "Spoon?" she repeated, the word sounding alien and vaguely provocative. "Is that a human term for shared survival space?" He coughed out a laugh. "Yeah, something like that. Usually involves less hostile glare and more cuddling, but hey, I'm flexible." She considered this, her expression unreadable. Cuddling. A curious custom. "Your species relies on physical comfort for survival," he snorted. "Sometimes. Other times it just means you're not alone when the universe tries to turn you into chunky salsa." She leaned against the rough wall, her form immense even in repose. Her armor seemed to absorb the dim light, making her almost invisible in the gloom. He noticed the bond mark scar again, a jagged, almost angry-looking line on her shoulder. "You have a history," he ventured, gesturing vaguely at the scar. Her head snapped towards him, eyes narrowing. "My function history is not for your consumption, human." Her voice was like grinding stone. "It is irrelevant. I was exiled. They mocked me. This is my claim world, my penance." He raised his hands in mock surrender. "Whoa, sensitive topic, just asking. Didn't realize it was sacred alien shame." She pulsed with a sudden raw energy. "Shame is for the weak. My elders are weak. They cling to ancient rituals, to their pure bloodlines. I was to be a pure claimer. I failed." Her voice lowered, taking on a dangerous edge. "Now I will prove my worth. And you will assist." He frowned. "Assist with what? Rescuing kittens from trees? I'm more of a blow stuff up kind of guy, really." A low rumble resonated from her chest. He wasn't sure if it was a laugh or a warning. Then a distant tremor, a low hum that vibrated through the rock. The ground beneath them shuddered. "They seek me," she murmured, her eyes distant. "My former kin, the elders. They do not forget a failed ritual or a claimed territory without a claimer." He gulped. "So we're being hunted. Great. And I thought my day couldn't get any worse. This was going to be a very, very long night." The tremor intensified, a deep, resonant thrumming that made Jake's teeth rattle. Cathar's head tilted, her sensory organs twitching. "They're advanced craft," she stated, her voice devoid of emotion, yet a subtle tension radiated from her. "Patrols. They are close." Jake pushed himself further into the narrow grotto, trying to make himself smaller. "Patrols? Of what? Your angry ex-boyfriends with space superiority?" He rubbed his aching ribs. "Look, I don't know what a pure claimer is, or what your function history beef is with your family, but I'm a non-combatant. Mostly." She scoffed, a dry, grating sound. "Non-combatant. Your species makes war with sticks and stones." He glared. "We also invented thermonuclear bombs and sarcasm, lady. Pick your poison." A shadow fell over the grotto's entrance, obscuring the dim light. Not a ship, but a hulking, multi-limbed creature, its chitinous shell gleaming wetly in the storm's fleeting flashes. A scav hound. Exactly what Cathar had warned him about. Its multifaceted eyes, 100 pinpricks of malevolent light, swept over their hiding place. It sniffed, a deep, guttural inhale, its maw lined with rows of needle-like teeth. "Shit," Jake whispered, drawing his plasma pistol. "Looks like the welcoming committee decided to drop by." Cathar moved, silent and fluid, interposing her body between him and the grotto's mouth. She drew a blade, long and wickedly curved, from a sheath on her back. It hummed faintly, a low predatory song. "It hunts by scent and magnetic resonance," she murmured, her voice a low growl. "Keep still. Do not amplify your distress signals." He could feel her raw power, a vibrating aura around her. It was terrifying and strangely captivating. The scav hound pushed its grotesque head into the opening, its stench a pungent mix of stale blood and ozone. It was too big for the grotto. Cathar moved like lightning. The blade flashed, a silver arc in the gloom. A shriek of agony ripped through the air as the beast recoiled, a fountain of black ichor spraying against the rock face. It thrashed, its powerful limbs scrabbling for purchase, trying to force its way in. Cathar held her ground, her body braced against the rock, pushing back against its immense weight. "It will alert others," she grated, straining. "We must move." Jake scrambled forward, pressing himself against her back. Her skin was cool, surprisingly smooth under his touch despite the armor. He felt the ripple of her powerful muscles beneath his hands. All right, just tell me where and try not to break me in half this time." He pulled his pistol up, aiming for one of the beast's eyes. A single shot flared, scorching chitin, drawing another shriek. The beast roared, its massive head withdrawing, tearing at the grotto's opening, trying to enlarge it. "We must descend," she said, pointing to a narrow fissure at the back of the grotto, barely wide enough for Jake to squeeze through. A lower passage. Lead. Jake looked at the dark, uncertain drop. "Lead? You just called me fragile and disposable 5 minutes ago?" She turned her head slightly, her violet eyes meeting his in the dimness. "Your species has an advantage in tight spaces. You are pliable," he snorted. "Pliable, yeah, that's me. Human pretzel." He didn't hesitate. The beast was still trying to claw its way in. He slipped into the fissure, his injured leg protesting, his pistol held ready. He felt Cathar follow, her movements unnervingly quiet for someone her size. The grotto was collapsing behind them as the scav hound tore it apart. They were moving from one trap into another, deeper into the earth. The passage was a winding labyrinth, a dark, suffocating tunnel carved by ancient lava flows now cold and lifeless. Jake led, his light stick casting weak, flickering shadows that danced like ghosts around them. The air grew heavier, warmer, carrying the scent of minerals and something else, something subtly metallic and living. Cathar followed, her presence a silent, formidable weight behind him. The constant thrum of the Elder's distant craft was a persistent echo, a reminder of their relentless pursuit. "You know," Jake puffed, his breath ragged, "for someone who just saved my ass from a multi-eyed nightmare, you're still pretty quiet. What's the plan exactly? We just keep going until we hit the planet's core." Her voice, usually so commanding, was a low murmur in the confined space. "There is an ancient network here, a spirit path used by my ancestors. It connects to dormant energy nodes." Her words were measured, almost strained. "My elders, they seek to reactivate it, to consolidate their power. But it requires a specific resonance, a claim." Jake glanced back, his light catching the subtle shimmer of her skin, the shifting patterns beneath the surface. "A claim, huh? Is that like owning real estate? Or is it more of a I own your soul kind of thing?" She was silent for a moment. "A claim is all. It is purpose, life bond, lineage. It is how my kind survives the cosmic emptiness." Her voice was tight, a hint of something fragile beneath the usual dominance. "My function history. I was meant to claim a planetary nexus, a source of vast power. I failed. My resonance was incomplete, or perhaps corrupted." He paused, sensing a shift in her. Corrupted? By what? By outside influence, by a non-aligned energy field. My elders believed my spirit links were tainted by a stray nebula pulse during my youth. They stripped me of my claim rights, exiled me to this desolate fringe. He whistled softly. "Damn. So they basically disowned you and sent you to the cosmic doghouse, just for a bad vibe." She bristled, a subtle wave of energy radiating from her. It was deemed a weakness, a vulnerability, and now they seek to reclaim this network and perhaps terminate me for my perceived failure to secure it. A new sound joined the distant hum of the Elder's ships, a low, resonant groan from the rock itself. The tunnel began to vibrate, more intensely than before. Fine dust sifted down from the ceiling. "What the hell was that?" Jake muttered. "The nodes are activating," Cathar said, her voice now strained. "Their resonance, it is overwhelming. My body, it reacts." He could feel it too, a strange building pressure in his skull, a warmth spreading through his limbs, making his blood thrum. It wasn't unpleasant, but it was definitely unnatural. Your species does not have the proper shielding for such energies, Cathar grated, her breathing becoming shallow. Her obsidian skin seemed to pulse with an inner light, the patterns on her surface shifting rapidly, almost like a frantic bioluminescence. Her violet eyes widened, unfocused. The resonance, it demands a counterpart, a polarity, to complete the circuit. She stumbled, bumping hard against him in the narrow passage. The contact sent a jolt through him, a strange electrical charge that mirrored the building heat in his own body. He could smell her now, the scent intensified, almost cloying, a dizzying mix of ozone, metallic tang, and something intensely musky, erotic. Her body was hot against his. The air grew thick with a cloying, musky scent, undeniably hers, and unmistakably erotic. It pressed in, heavy and intoxicating in the cramped confines of the lava tube. Jake felt his own blood surge, a primal response to the alien pheromones now saturating the air. The low thrumming from the activated energy nodes intensified, vibrating through the rock, through their bones, a deep, primal hum that seemed to resonate directly with his nervous system. Cathar was leaning against him, her breathing ragged, her body trembling. The shifting patterns on her skin, usually subtle, now pulsed with a frantic, almost blinding internal light. Her violet eyes were wide, dilated, fixed on some unseen point. She was in a state of profound physiological distress, or perhaps a profound physiological change. The resonance, she gasped, her voice raw. It demands a matching frequency, a polarity, to stabilize. Her hand, large and powerful, clamped onto his wrist. Her grip was burning hot. Your essence, it is a dissonant but powerful frequency. It could complete. He was barely processing her words. His mind was reeling from the sensory overload, the overwhelming heat radiating from her, the sheer, undeniable need that was flooding the small space. His own body was reacting, betraying him, the heat in his groin a furious, aching demand. Complete what exactly? He rasped, his voice thick. A circuit, a mating ritual? You're starting to glow, by the way. Her head snapped towards him, her dilated eyes locking onto his. A low, desperate groan escaped her. My body prepares for a claiming. The resonance on it stimulates the primal drives. It demands absorption to create the conduit. She was close, so close he could feel the heat radiating off her. Her breath, hot and heavy, ghosted over his face. He could see the intricate shifting patterns beneath her skin, a lattice of light and shadow, beautiful and terrifying. Absorption? Is that like absorb? Because I'm pretty sure I don't want to be absorbed. My mom would kill me. A strange, almost pained expression crossed her face, a glimpse of vulnerability he hadn't seen before. No, not absorption. It is a primal heat, a drive to merge, to unify the frequencies. My kind. We use it to bond to new territories, new power sources, to prove our right to claim. Her hand slid up his arm, her fingers tracing the line of his bicep, her touch sending shivers through him. The rock groaned again, louder, and the whole tunnel shimmered with a golden light. The air was electric. Cathar pressed her body fully against his, her curves molding to his frame. A delicious, dangerous friction. The elders, they will seek to exploit this resonance, to use my body to claim this nexus, and without a balanced polarity, it will destroy me. And you. Her voice was a desperate plea, raw and uncharacteristic. This must be completed, with your polarity, or we die. His brain screamed danger, but his body was a roaring furnace. The scent, the heat, the primal vibrations of the ancient network and the desperate need emanating from her alien form, it was overwhelming. He was trapped, cornered, and his own biology was betraying him. He could feel the desperate, untamed wildness in her, a terrifying beauty that promised oblivion or something more. His hand, almost of its own accord, reached for her waist, pulling her impossibly closer. This was no seduction. This was survival, and perhaps a primal, dangerous answer to the universe's demands. Her hands, surprisingly gentle yet firm, cupped his face, her thumbs stroking his jawline. Her violet eyes, still dilated, gazed into his, not with lust, but with a fierce, primal urgency. "This is a claiming," she murmured, her voice deep, raw with the building resonance. Her body, hot and vibrating, pressed against his, the friction of her armored plates and the soft, supple skin beneath sending shivers through him. He could feel the delicate yet powerful ripple of her muscles as she shifted, adjusting their bodies in the cramped space. A very urgent claiming, it seems, Jake managed, his voice a low growl, his own body thrumming with an electric heat, a mirror to hers. His hands found purchase on her hips, pulling her impossibly closer, until no light could pass between them. He felt the soft, yielding curve of her breasts against his chest, the startlingly human-like texture of her skin, beneath the subtle sheen of light that now pulsed across her. He could taste her scent in the air, a heady mix of ozone, musk, and something sweet, like exotic fruits. Cathar's lips parted, revealing rows of small, sharp teeth, but her expression was one of intense focus, almost a trance. She dipped her head, her breath hot against his neck. "My ancestors initiated the claim through a blood bond, a marking." He felt a sharp, brief sting on his neck just below his ear, a small scratch, then a strange, warm pressure. Her lips were there, pressing against the tiny wound, then a soft, wet suction. He felt a faint, invigorating tingle spread from the point of contact, racing through his veins, connecting him to her, to the thrumming energy of the ancient network. His body convulsed slightly, a shiver running through him, not of pain but of profound connection. "What the hell was that?" he gasped, his voice ragged. Her eyes met his, blazing with a new, terrifying light. "The bond, the resonance. It activates now, human. We are aligned." Her hands dropped to his waist, her fingers digging into his flesh. She pushed him back against the cold rock, straddling him in one fluid motion, her legs wrapping around his hips. The contact was electric, searing. He felt the slickness between them, a sudden wetness that was distinctly alien yet utterly compelling. A low groan escaped him as she moved, a slow, deliberate grind that was both agonizing and exquisite. "This is survival," she panted, her voice tight, strained but with an underlying triumph. "This is the claim." He lost himself in the sensation, in the alien heat, the impossible curves, the sheer, raw power of her. His hands roamed over her body, exploring the textures of her skin, the surprising softness beneath the hardened armor. Her hips moved with an ancient rhythm, primal and demanding. His own instincts, long dormant, surged to the forefront, overriding all logic, all fear. He was human. She was alien. And in this moment they were just two beings caught in a maelstrom of desperate, primal need, driven by an external energy that mirrored their internal desires. He pushed into her, a deep, shuddering thrust that elicited a sharp gasp from her, a guttural sound that was half pain, half pleasure. Her back arched, her head thrown back, exposing the elegant line of her throat. The light patterns on her skin pulsed faster, a chaotic, beautiful dance. He was vaguely aware of the distant hum of the elders' ships, but it was distant, muffled, lost beneath the roar of blood in his ears, the frantic beating of his heart, and the intoxicating alien scent that filled his lungs. This was not gentle. This was desperate, raw, and utterly consuming. It was a merging of incompatible elements forced together by an external will, by a desperate need for survival, and by something undeniably primal that had awakened between them. He felt her inner walls contract around him, a demanding rhythmic squeeze that drew a groan from his own throat. He buried his face in her shoulder, her scent overwhelming, intoxicating. His climax was a violent, shuddering release, mirrored by her own, a deep guttural cry that echoed in the confined space, a resonant thrum that seemed to harmonize with the ancient energy nodes. He felt a strange jolt, like an electric shock as she tensed around him, and then a profound sense of rightness, of belonging. The immediate aftermath was a strange stillness. The pulsing light patterns on Cathar's skin slowly subsided, dimming to a soft, constant glow. The overpowering, musky scent in the air gradually dissipated, replaced by a lingering sweetness. Jake lay beneath her, his body boneless, exhausted, but a profound energy still hummed beneath his skin, a direct echo of the brief, intense blood bond. His neck throbbed faintly where she had marked him. He reached up, touching the spot, feeling the subtle raised texture of the new scar. It wasn't just a scratch, it was a brand. Cathar shifted, lifting herself slightly, her violet eyes now clear and focused, staring down at him. There was a new light in them, a possessive, almost bewildered intensity. "You are claimed," she stated, her voice softer than he'd ever heard it, yet still infused with an undeniable authority. "Your polarity." It resonated. "The circuit is complete." She reached down, her hand tracing the faint mark on his neck. "This mark, it binds us. To the Nexus. To each other. It is the claim." Jake stared up at her, still reeling. "Claimed? So, like, I'm your property now? Your human pet?" He tried for sarcasm, but his voice was weak. She tilted her head. "Property is inadequate. You are essence, conduit, a part of my claim, my spirit bond." She leaned closer, her scent returning, though less overpowering. "You are mine by ancient law, by shared essence, by ritual." He swallowed, the words sinking in. This wasn't a casual fling. This was a cosmic marriage, enforced by alien ritual and a very intense, very public act of procreation or bonding. "Right. So what? Do I get a collar and a leash now? Or do I just follow you around making snarky comments and occasionally fending off multi-eyed monsters?" A faint, almost imperceptible twitch, like a ghost of a smile, touched her lips. "Your snarky comments are unique. They will be tolerated. For now." Then a deep guttural roar echoed from the tunnel entrance behind them, followed by the heavy thud of alien boots. The air vibrated with a cold, oppressive energy that was the polar opposite of the warm resonance they had just experienced. Cathar tensed, her gaze hardening. Her skin patterns flared again, this time with a harsh, angry light. "The Elders!" she hissed, rising swiftly, her movements fluid and deadly. Her blade reappeared in her hand, humming ominously. "They have tracked my resonance. They will know the claim is complete. They will seek to disrupt it." Jake scrambled to his feet, wincing at the ache in his muscles, the still vibrating core of him. He grabbed his plasma pistol, its familiar weight a small comfort. Disrupt it? Like kill us, break the bond, or just give us a stern talking to about proper mating etiquette? Cathar looked at him, her eyes fierce. "They will seek to terminate the taint, to destroy the impure claim, and me, for completing a ritual with you." The heavy thudding grew louder, closer. They were cornered. The bond, the shared climax, the profound connection that had just saved their lives and completed an ancient ritual, now served only to draw their enemies directly to them. This wasn't the end of the danger. It was the beginning of a whole new kind of hell. Heavy thuds echoed through the lava tube as armed figures, tall and gaunt, their forms cloaked in shimmering, ritualistic robes, advanced. The patriarchal elders, their faces, gaunt and severe beneath intricate bone masks, stared at Cathar with unmasked contempt. Their eyes, though, flickered to Jake, then back to Cathar, a ripple of disgust passing through their ranks. One, older than the rest, his voice like the scraping of dry stone, stepped forward. "Cathar," he rasped, his voice amplified by some unseen device. "You have defiled the sacred resonance. You have stained the claim path with this." His long, bony finger pointed at Jake. His words, though in an alien tongue, dripped with venom and disdain. "Your function history was always marked by impurity. Your failure to claim the Nexus was foretold by your tainted spirit links. And now, you bind yourself to a creature of mere flesh and blood? A scavenger?" He laughed, a dry, rattling sound. "They mock her for her function history, for her failed claim, for the shame of being exiled, and now, for this, for bonding with a human." Jake felt a surge of cold fury cutting through his exhaustion. He might be half dead, claimed by an alien warrior, and utterly out of his depth, but nobody got to insult Cathar in front of him. Not after what they'd just shared. Not after she'd risked everything to complete whatever crazy ritual they'd just enacted. He stepped forward, putting himself slightly in front of Cathar, his plasma pistol steady. "Listen up, Bone Daddies," he snarled, his voice low and dangerous. You want to talk about tainted? You're standing here in your fancy robes judging someone for surviving, for doing what you couldn't, and you're calling her impure? She just saved our asses, and yours too, probably, by getting this damn resonance under control. And she did it with a creature of mere flesh and blood. He gestured to himself. That's me, by the way, Jake. And she's Cathar, my claimed. The elders' eyes widened, a flicker of shock in their ancient depths. They hadn't expected the human to speak, let alone defy them. Cathar shifted behind him, a low, resonant growl rumbling in her chest, a sound of surprise, and something else, a fierce pride. Her hand settled on his back, a silent, powerful claim. The elder scoffed. A human male claiming one of our warriors? You do not understand our ways, scavenger. Our females claim. They do not get claimed. She has debased herself, and she has defiled the ancient path. Cathar's voice, sharp and cold, sliced through the air. He speaks true, elder. The resonance demanded a polarity. His essence, it was sufficient. It was more than sufficient. It completed the claim. I completed the claim. She stepped fully beside Jake, shoulder to shoulder, her stance defiant. The skin patterns on her body pulsed, a low, angry thrum. And this is my bonded, my mate, my claimed, by the very resonance you sought to control, by the very power you deemed me too tainted to wield. The elders recoiled, their masked faces revealing a flicker of something akin to fear. The energy of the nexus, which had hummed violently before, was now a steady, potent thrum, a balanced force. It hummed around Cathar, around them, emanating from their shared bond. It was undeniable. Cathar had truly completed the claim, and now this tainted human was a part of it. The elder raised a hand, his voice laced with renewed fury. You defy us. You embrace a parasitic bond. We will cleanse this defilement by trial of blood. The elder's declaration, by trial of blood, hung heavy in the air, echoing the ancient, unforgiving laws of Cathar's people. The other elders murmured in agreement, their cloaked forms shifting, a ripple of grim satisfaction passing through their ranks. Cathar's posture stiffened, a silent, primal challenge emanating from her. Her blade hummed in her hand. Jake felt a cold dread, but it was quickly overshadowed by a surge of defiance. Trial of blood, huh? Is that like a really intense wrestling match, or do I need to bring my own shiv? He muttered under his breath, earning a low rumble from Cathar. They seek to break the bond, she whispered back, her violet eyes blazing at the elders. To prove the claim is impure, that I am still a failure. She stepped forward, ready to face them alone, but Jake grabbed her arm, his grip surprisingly firm. Hold on. We are the claim, right? So this trial of blood is for both of us. He met her gaze, a fierce determination in his eyes. You called me pliable. Turns out I'm also pretty damn stubborn. And if these guys are gonna mock your function history, they're gonna have to go through both of us. Her expression softened for a fleeting moment, a flicker of raw emotion, a surprise that transcended her warrior's stoicism. The elders scoffed. A human male cannot participate in a trial of blood. It is forbidden. His essence is too weak. The lead elder sneered. Unless he truly believes his claim extends to our sacred rituals. Is this truly the mate you choose, Cathar? This scavenger? This human? Cathar's spine straightened, radiating a power that made the air itself vibrate. Her hand, large and strong, found Jake's, intertwining their fingers. The blood mark on his neck throbbed, a direct connection to her fierce pride. He is my claimed. His strength is what unexpected, his spirit unyielding. He chose to stand with me against your judgment. This bond, it is stronger than your ancient laws, stronger than your disdain. It is the resonance the Nexus demanded. She looked at Jake, her eyes burning. If he chooses to fight by my side, Elder, then that is his right. He is part of my claim. My lineage begins with him. The Elder's mask seemed to contort in rage. Blasphemy. Then so be it. The trial will judge your insolence. Two of the younger elders, less cloaked in ceremonial robes and more in practical combat gear, stepped forward, blades drawn. Cathar pulled Jake behind a jagged rock formation, as the first blows landed, showering sparks. She moved with impossible speed, a whirlwind of obsidian skin and humming steel, deflecting, parrying, her movements fluid and deadly. Jake, meanwhile, used his plasma pistol, his shots precise, aimed at the exposed joints of their opponent's armor, distracting them, creating openings for Cathar. He wasn't a warrior like her, but he was a survivor, and he knew how to fight dirty. He was a small, agile target, darting in and out, creating chaos. Cathar's gaze flickered to him mid-combat, a brief, sharp glance that held a flash of admiration. He saw it, and felt a strange swell of fierce loyalty. He was here. He wasn't leaving. He was her claimed. The bond resonated between them, a shared rhythm of combat, a silent understanding. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about proving them wrong, about proving her worth, about forging something new, together. He was a human, and he was giving her more than just his last name. He was giving her his defiance. The last elder fell, crashing to the ground in a heap of shattered armor and defeated pride. The two combatants, Cathar and Jake, stood side by side, breathing heavily, the air thick with ozone and the scent of expended plasma. Cathar's blade hummed faintly, its tip still gleaming with the residue of their victory. Jake's pistol was hot in his hand, its energy cell nearly drained. The remaining elders, their masked faces now etched with shock and a grudging respect, retreated a few steps, their aura of righteous judgment replaced by an undeniable awe. The Nexus, the ancient energy network, pulsed with a calm, steady light, a testament to the successful claim. The resonance, once volatile, was now perfectly balanced, a harmonious hum radiating from Cathar and from Jake. The bond was undeniable, visibly manifest in the subtle shimmer around them. The elder who had first accused Cathar, his voice now devoid of its former arrogance, spoke slowly, almost reverently. The resonance is stable, the claim complete. This was unforeseen. A hybrid claim, a new path. Cathar turned to Jake, her violet eyes softer now, a profound depth in their gaze. She reached out, her fingers gently touching the bond mark on his neck. "My function history," she murmured, her voice laced with a vulnerability he'd never expected. "They said it was broken, tainted, that I could never truly claim." She looked back at the defeated elders, then at Jake again. "But with your polarity, the balance was found. You are not a taint human. You are the missing piece." He reached up, covering her hand with his. "Yeah, well, someone had to show these old farts how it's done. And for the record, your function history is pretty damn impressive. You went through hell, and you still stood tall." He squeezed her hand, a genuine warmth spreading between them. "And I'm not just a polarity, Cathar. I'm Jake, your partner, your problem, your guy." She let out a low, soft sound, almost a purr, a raw, deep vibration that resonated through his hand, through his entire body. "My guy," she repeated, tasting the word, finding something in it that seemed to please her. She pulled him closer, her strong arms wrapping around him, pulling him against her firm, powerful body. Her head rested against his shoulder, her breath warm against his neck, near the still throbbing mark. "They will no longer mock my claim, human," she stated, her voice imbued with a quiet, fierce triumph. "Because of you." Jake felt a profound sense of belonging, an unexpected anchor in the chaos of his life. He had crashed, fought for survival, been claimed by an alien warrior, and inadvertently become part of an ancient ritual. But in her arms, under the quiet hum of the ancient nexus, he felt, for the first time in a long time, like he was exactly where he needed to be. He was home. And with Cathar, his defiant, dangerous, beautiful alien warrior, he knew their path, though forged in fire and blood, was just beginning. It was going to be a wild, dangerous ride, but with her by his side, he wouldn't have it any other way. "All right, Cathar," he whispered, his voice rough with emotion, his lips brushing her dark, smooth skin. "Let's show them what a tainted claim really looks like, what we look like." He held her tighter, pulling her close, the scent of her, the feel of her, filling his senses. They were bonded, forged, and ready for whatever the universe and her judgmental elders decided to throw at them next.